G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new DLC for Age of Empires 4, the Knights of Cross and Rose, which is about to be releasing in the next 12 hours. I tell you what, I'm incredibly excited for it because we are going to witness the release of two new civilizations, a variant for the English, a variant for the French, and a whole bunch of new maps, including the one that we are watching today. It is Enlightened Horizon, and we've got two top-level players for you today. Let's take a look and see who we've got. Spawning on the, the southeast side of the map. In the color purple, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, it's Striker. And also spawning to the southeast side of the map. Yes, welcome. This is Enlightened Horizon. Spawning in the color blue, playing as the House of Lancaster, the English variant civilization, we've got Lash. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. A pleasure to have your company here on this, what day is it? Tuesday for me. Probably Tuesday for most of you folks over there. So welcome. Good to see you here. Hopefully you're enjoying this casted game. If you are, make sure you hit that like button. It very much helps out with the traction of the video. So let's get into it. Talk a little bit about what we've got here. So the main focus is going to be on the fact that we have one of the new civilizations, the House of Lancaster. We're going to be looking at them, the way that they work, all their bonuses, all that good stuff. A little bit less about the Delhi Sultanate. There's obviously been changes to the Delhi Sultanate, very minor changes. We've also got a really interesting map. So not only do we have three sacred sites that are all next to each other, but we've also got these points of interest across the map. So I don't remember whether or not the Enlightened Horizon is going to be in the ranked ladder map pool. But this is it's a cool map nonetheless, so I'm excited the fact that these guys are trying it out. Not a whole lot of these POIs, only the 3 by the looks of it. 2 merchant camps and just the 1 Ronin camp up towards the north. So let's check in with Lash and see how he's doing as the age up's about to come through. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the differences between this civilization and the English, because that's what they're a variant of. So first and foremost, their villages collect sheep faster. They gather up 25% faster over your standard villages, which is pretty damn cool. It means that you can get very quick age ups in. It means you can have less villagers on food throughout the game, just to try and keep those villagers coming out. You only need 3 vills on sheep compared to 4 with most other civilizations, or pretty much all other civilizations. The other thing to note is that there are some key differences in their economy, specifically with regard to their farms. So you'll be familiar with the English and the way that they love to have their mill out the back, and you've got a whole bunch of farms around there. Well, it's not going to be the case here for Lash on the House of Lancaster, and that is because his farms are quite expensive. He pays the full price for them. Doesn't get that bonus. The mill doesn't provide that influence either. So for all of you farm enjoyers, probably going to have to head back to the English rather than committing to the House of Lancaster. But we do start to see the very first of the age up starting to come through. It's the Lancaster Castle, one of the brand new age up or landmarks available to this civilization. They also have the access to the Abbey of the King, Abbey of Kings, Abbey of the Kings, Abbey of the, give me a second. Abbey of Kings. Sorry. It can take some time. Sometimes, you know, the brain's not always firing on all 4 cylinders. Because that's all I've got. I wish I had more than 4 cylinders. I could have said 12 cylinders or 16 cylinders. Made myself sound a little bit tougher. I'm not really. I'm barely a 2-stroke. All right, well, we got a little bit of a fight happening over the first point of interest. So the way that this one works is quite simple. You need to stand on it like a sacred site. You can do that with any single unit. And when you do it, you're going to be gaining resources. So we can see 15 wood, 15 food, 15 gold every 60 seconds. So it's equivalent to about a villager. So you definitely want to be making sure that you are trying your best to secure these. Now, the age up has come through quite early on for the Lancaster Castle. We'll talk a little bit about what it does. Before we do that, though, we'll just check in on the other side of the map and see how Striker is doing, as he's going to be going into the Dome of the Faith. And I'm curious to see how many sacred sites he looks to try and pick up today, and whether or not he really looks to try and grab all 3 of them, because this could be a fun game. So his age up is about to come through as well. So let's talk Lancaster. Let's talk castles. Let's talk the Lancaster Castle. So this is a landmark that is going to be acting the same way a Barbican does. Oh, do we have ourselves our... this could be it right here. They could look to try and take each other out. Not going to happen. So think of it like a Barbican that you can't garrison inside of, and it provides influence. It provides a whole bunch of influence to all the manors that are around it. The manor is the unique building available to the House of Lancaster, something that we've not yet talked about. It's going to increase their health, and it's also going to provide them an arrow slit, which means that they're kind of like a pseudo outpost in that regard. So we'll be looking forward to seeing whether or not he puts down some manors. I suspect he will, because these manors do cost quite a bit of stone, and he's got 2 villages on stone already. On top of that, we see a barracks coming out. So just looking to start off by getting the single spearman out for the moment, looking to reinforce this position. Obviously, he'd be aware of the map that he's playing on and know that his enemy could potentially look to harass him. So it starts it off with a nice and safe spearman. Definitely a smart move here for him. But the first manor is now starting to come up. He's got it positioned in between his town center as well as the Lancaster Castle. Lancaster Castle? Lancaster Castle? Lancaster Castle? Lancaster Castle. I tell you what, it's going to take a bit of getting used to, so apologies. But we do start to see he's moving into quite a bit of military, so we also have the archery range coming down. On the side of Striker, we can see that he does have Ghazi Raiders out, so no real surprise there. That's kind of standard when it comes to the Delhi Sultanate. Nothing seemed to really change. So now we've got the first of the manors online. The manor is equivalent to about 3 villages generating resources. 70 food per minute and 45 wood per minute. 115 resources per minute that is free. Well, no, it's not free. I mean, you got to pay for it, but it's free from population. You don't have to think about the population at all. So that's a huge component of this civilization, and the fact that they're able to leverage these manors, and it means that as a result, they've got a huge amount of population that is just freed up for them to go into military. So they've got a very strong economy from this. You can build up to 9 manors in total. So it's a large amount of resources that you've got that are generating. So if we extrapolate that out, if you've got 110, or is it 115 influence, and then it's over 9. So you're talking about 1,000, maybe 1,100 resources per minute. But then on top of that, you've also got an upgrade that allows you to get gold in the Imperial Age. So you can get even more resources through that way. So you can really get some quite high numbers on these guys. I think it works out to be about 15 to 1,600 resources per minute that's coming through passively, which is, I think it's actually more than the Malians get with their big cow landmark and all of their cows around it. So it's quite a bit. But now we start to see the units beginning to come out. A couple of yeomen, the unique archer replacement for the House of Lancaster. They do not get access to the longbow. And of course, they've got the spearmen as well. Spearmen available in the Dark Age, so they don't get access to the men-at-arms. They don't get access to the men-at-arm early either. Instead, they have the Earl's Guard, which is available in the Castle Age. So that is a unique men-at-arm replacement. And now that scout is probably going to get chased down. He's going to do a little bit of scouting. He's going to try and spot out the base and see if he can find any information before he goes down. So unfortunate timing here, but in the end, he will go down. Spots only the bare basic information. Nothing else really telegraphed here. Now, we do also get very close. I think Sanctity, in fact, has already started coming through. If we take a look up towards the north of the map, all 3 sacred sites are grouped here, and we've got 3 scholars coming out, an archer as well, more on the way, so quite a number of units, and these players are going to be moving up towards this top part of the map, and I tell you what, I'm excited about this map. I think this is a really cool map. We've got, it's balanced very strangely, but at the same time, I think this is going to be a good thing. I don't think this is going to be a bad thing by any means. So the first of the scholars come out. Where are the other ones? Did we not just see 3 scholars? Okay, there they are. 2 more scholars on the sacred sites back here. But players will be looking to get out over onto this side of the map. Look to try and maybe put some fortifications down here, maybe some palisade walls, a fort or 2, or a keep or 2. Could definitely be quite nice as well. And we can see Striker is beginning to make his way out over onto the sacred side. He spots the spearmen, avoids them like the plague, exactly what he should be doing. And now we start to see the first of the sacred sites is captured, the second one about to come through as well, the third one. And quite an interesting style when it comes to the layout of this map. It just means that for civilizations that like to control sacred sites, like the Knights Templar, like the Delhi Sultanate do, it's going to be a very strong map for them if they can hold onto those positions. Lash now beginning to build into the middle of the map, making his way out, looking to cut off on the reinforcements, and then maybe potentially make his way up towards the north. He is going to spot out these units, and we can see the Ghazi Raiders, as well as the archers, are making their way across the map. Now going to be picked up, a little bit of damage done. The first of the units in the game will go down, with the exception of that scout earlier on. At the moment, the numbers are still in favor of Striker. He's got the military advantage, or at least the military value advantage. Though I tell you what, it doesn't really feel like it at the moment, the way that Lash is looking. Let's take a look and see whether or not he hasn't picked up Billman just yet. There is a unique upgrade that your spearmen have access to as the House of Lancaster, which is going to increase the amount of armor that they reduce. Yes, you heard that correctly. Basically, the way that it works, it's not an aura. It's worked out for the units that they're attacking. They are going to reduce that armor by 2 whenever they attack an enemy. And that's huge. That is massive. It means that if you're fighting against a men-at-arms that's got 4 armor, that now goes down to 2 armor. And it means that all your yeomen are going to be doing more damage to those units because of that. All 3 sacred sites now taken. Striker potentially could look to go Castle Age here. That's a lot of gold that's going to be coming through on his side. We're right on board with him for a brief period here, as we do see in the north, all 3 sacred sites do have a single unit standing on them, and they are being neutralized. But it definitely feels like Striker doesn't really have the position to fight just yet. And we do see a couple of the new units coming out. This is the Ronin. This is available up in the north of the map. The Lost Ronin POI, the point of interest. So controlling players can hire a Ronin. A new Ronin becomes available every 120 seconds. And they start arriving after 5 minutes. So here we can see them making their way out, the Ronin. A fast armored unit, 1.69 movement speed. We can see them coming forward, looking to try and dive on these back lines. Going to go past a boar as well. Keep in mind, they don't do AoE damage, but they are still pretty damn powerful. They kind of look like they would do AoE damage, because if you played AoE, Age of Empires 3, you'd be very familiar with the Ronin and just exactly how powerful it was. You know what? Let's change that. How overpowered it was. It wasn't really overpowered. The Ronin was a fun unit. It was a mercenary unit, and some civilizations could get a lot more of them than others. And yeah, it was a powerful unit if you ever managed to be able to construct them in a game. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so in this game at the moment, we don't have any second town centers being dropped down just yet. I think the main focus for Striker here is going to be aging up to castle, or castling. And for Lash on the south side, he's just looking to continue building out that economy. We do see Billman now coming through the upgrade. He's also looking to pick up Wheelbarrow as well. So getting that economy starting to roll. Yet to pick up the double broadaxe upgrade, but now making his way out onto the map. He's going to be able to pick up the first of the Ghazi Raiders. And looking now do some damage. 39 Vils against 39 Vils. Both of these players very much on the ball when it comes to villager creation. And now Lash really looking to push forward over towards his enemy. He's got to be careful about potentially getting pincered here. The Vil count, or rather the military count, is in favor of Striker. He's got quite a few more units than his opponent. The other thing to note is that he's Lash is on the other side of the map right here. This could be painful for him. We're going to get rid of the UI. See you later, guys. And we're going to get ourselves some damn good fun. He's looking to try and snipe out these units. Vil's going to get involved as well. He's making his way to the back, and I think he realizes, you know what, I'm probably in a little bit too deep at this stage. Picks up the Vil. Now the Billman going to come forward with or rather the Spearman with their Billman upgrade. Spear's just going to look to try and commit. He's doing a decent job of pulling them around, but at the same time, Micro coming through from Striker, looking solid in this game. Able to focus down those archers one by one on the back line, but the number of Ghazi Raiders is probably a bit excessive at this point. And now, because of that, it looks almost certain like he's going to be losing this army. And because of that, it is going to give Striker a huge tempo advantage. More than likely going to be able to hit Castle off this, because his opponent has lost a massive amount of military. And that's just the consequence of a map like this. When you push a little bit too far, you're going to be cutting off all your reinforcements, whereas your opponent has got a huge amount of reinforcements that they can grab the closer that you are with your army to their base. So unfortunately, at the end of the day, Lash has made a massive mistake, overstepping the mark here. We can see now that military difference between these two. You've got 51 against 18 when it comes to these numbers. So unfortunately for Lash, he's in a bit of a tough spot. But the good news is he's playing House of Lancaster, and if you haven't been paying attention, they are a little bit strong at the moment. I say a little bit strong. They're a lot strong at the moment. How many of these manors have we got online at the moment? Let's take a look and see. We'll check in with Lash. He's at 5 out of 6 at the moment, so he'll be looking to pick up his 6th one shortly. He's got the ability to increase this. You start out with 3. You then get the ability to increase that to 6 with the technology, and then up to 9 with another technology called Open Field System. So he'll be looking to take advantage of that today, I suspect, as he's now putting down the 6th manor. And we want to try and get to 9 manors. And the reason why is because of the Lancaster Castle. Now, we talked earlier about the fact it's got this ability, or this influence, about how it can increase the health. It gives the arrow slit to nearby manors. One of the things we didn't mention was its ability to give musters, or to do musters, which means that the way that it works is, well, let's just read it. So levies 2 demi-lancers and an additional 1 for each manor that you own. So if you've got 9 manors, that means that you're levying 11 demi-lancers, which is very, very juicy. That is quite a lot. And you're only paying 400 resources for it. Now, demi-lancers aren't the strongest cavalry units, but they're still strong, right? Well, they're still good. Excuse me. They're still good. You still want them. So normally what we've seen players do is look to try and max out those Demi-Lancer or those mana numbers and then go into the Demi-Lancers. But here as an example, you can see he's getting pushed. So he needs a hero right now. He needs to call upon a hero, and that hero is going to be the Demi-Lancer. So 15 seconds he's got. They're all just going to pop out of here. They're going to go bing, 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 like that. So he'll be looking to try and take advantage of them, and you can see that Striker is cautious. If I'm Lash right now, I'm even cancelling this because I can see that Striker's not interested in fighting right now. I would cancel that, and that way, so we can see he's got them all coming out over this side. No, he's changed it over up to here, so you can spot the Demi-Lancer now. And you can see it's got quite a bit of health on it. Not a whole lot of damage, but he's going to look to push out now. And still is behind on that military count for the moment. Striker, by the way, did go to Castle Age. I don't know when that Castle Age came through. Did it just... No, it just literally came through then. What was that sound? That was a bit of a weird sound. White Tower now going to be coming up as well for Lash. Going for the double defensive option here with the House of Lancaster. The English variant, 24 vills on the White Tower. He's hoping that Striker doesn't spot this out. You can see he's got the scout, but unfortunately it's just slightly out of his range on that line of sight. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to preemptively come in here and try and force a fight. I guess ideally, realistically, would he want to? Even if he could, because he's getting his upgrades through. It's going to take time for those upgrades to come online. How many scholars is he sitting on? He's sitting on 12 scholars at the moment. I'm assuming he's got the majority of them in here. If we take a look at the mosque, it says 0 out of 5. Upgrade, or age up comes through. Lash, of course, going to Castle Age. Now that White Tower, it's got a whole bunch of vills inside it. Going to be looking to support the army in this fight. He'll be seeking to get a whole bunch of upgrades here. He's definitely caught between a rock and a hard place at the moment. Lash stuck in the corner. His opponent with pretty much the entirety of the map. It definitely feels that way. I tell you what, against a civilization like the Mongols, this could be a very hard map, because the Mongols love to just kind of start building a trench with outposts, and you're kind of damned, man. Like, what do you do if you're up against the Mongols and they start building a trench outpost with their springwood emplacements, and then they start trebbing you down? That could be really difficult to deal with. Or imagine if you get Barbican rushed on this map. Could you imagine if the Chinese come and put a Barbican in the back of your base like this? Whew. That wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be fun. At least you'd have the front that you could potentially go out. But I tell you what, if there's ever been a map to Barbican somebody on, it's got to be this map. This is a map, that is for sure. All right, the first of the sacred sites now going to be cancelled out, slowly neutralized. There are units in the vicinity, and we can see them making their way up north. Striker now spotting these Demi-Lancers out, sees a couple on each of the sacred sites. And the question's going to be about how he looks to contest this. Upgrades coming through. We see the Yeoman veterancy on the way. Spearman upgrade as well as +2 ranged attack now for our House of Lancaster player. Also a couple of Earl's Guards out. The unique man-at-arms with the ability to throw its daggers. And now that Demi-Lancer barely scratching the enemy units. And unfortunately, it's going to go down quite quickly here. Indeed it does. And now these Ghazi Raiders going to be looking to move over to the next sacred site potentially. No, Lash is going to be able to get off that sacred site quickly. You can see these archers coming up to try and quell any potential military presence. But unfortunately, these scholars are going to have to get back out here and look to recap these sacred sites. It's part of the reason why I love to just leave one scholar around those sacred sites. Not around these sacred sites, because I haven't played this map yet, but around a sacred site. It's always great to just leave the scholar in the area. That way you can always just recap the site when you've lost it. It definitely makes for quite fun. Ronin towards the front. We can see just how much ranged armor they've got. Quite a bit right there. 5 ranged armor. So the Yeoman not doing a whole bunch of damage there. They've got 9 damage on them though. Triple racks in the front of the base. Triple archery range to the side of the base. In fact, rather, it's a quadruple archery range to the side. And the other thing to note is that with this civilization, you can indeed put your farms around the town center. There's no reason not to now, because it's not like you're missing out if you were to put them around the town center versus putting them in them or around a mill. But now beginning to move forward, it's a bit difficult to see because we've got so many damn buildings going up right here. We've got the big keep looking to try and keep itself online. Yeoman in the back, lots of bills here. Going to try and get this up as well. He's going to have reinforcements. The moment that this keep completes, there's going to be 3 Earl's Guards that pop out and help defend this keep. And now let's get ourselves in with a little bit of the UI dropping off. Archers firing down. Ghazi Raiders here as well. The Vills, once they complete this keep, we'll see there they are, looking to try and assist the Earl's Guard at the front, together with that keep. Now all of a sudden it means that defense is going to look a little bit better, a little bit stronger. Of course you don't get that extra attack speed that the English get, but you still get a whole bunch of extra oomph now that the keep is online. He's trying to focus it down. The Elephant's working overtime to get rid of it. The Yeoman in the back He's going to have to probably pop the villagers out if he wants to actually keep this alive. 3 of these elephants with a single one being chased around by all these Earl's Guards on the back. Vill count inside the keep still looking relatively good, but I suspect he's lost quite a few in this battle. We'll take a look at what it stands at the moment. It's only 49 versus 50, so they've both lost a fair few workers in this game. But unfortunately, this keep is going to be going down. Perfect timing there from Striker, striking at the perfect time. Very well done from him. All right, more walls going to start coming up over on the west side of the map. A big wall, in fact, coming up with that villager. Vill's now going to start moving out. He's looking to try and confirm a little bit of security, economic security through these gold veins. Of course, he wanted to really get this keep online, but Striker struck at such wonderful timing. We'll take a look at the mana numbers. How are we doing back here on this mana count? We're at 9 out of 9, so he could look to pull out the second levy. So that's 8 yeomen and 1 additional yeoman for each mana. So this works out to be 17 yeomen. So realistically, it's about the same price that you'd actually pay for them. It's just, it's a nice big burst. That's the good thing about it. And you're paying gold instead of paying food, which I guess realistically is probably a little bit worse than paying food. But let's take a look at the income. Get a bit of an idea on where these two currently stand facing off against each other. Demi Lancer up here just causing a bit of havoc here with the religious units. But at the moment, when it comes to our economies, it looks like we're sitting at about, I'd say about 2,500 for Lash. Compare that over to Striker, who's sitting at about, oh, wow, look at that. 2.1k, 2.2. So despite what feels like a bad position here for Lash, he's still ahead on the economy. Now, when it comes to relics as well, all 5 of the relics got picked up very quickly. And they kind of spawn here in the middle. We can see 1, 2, 3. I think there's a 4th one somewhere, maybe a little bit further up here. But they are all very, very close together. Maybe down here. Yeah, there's the 4th one. 5th one, probably somewhere over here-ish. But all of them picked up, all of them secured safely inside the mosques. Back at home, we see 2 in here, 3 over here. So he's got that 400 gold per minute that's going to be ticking into his coffers. He'll be obviously very happy with that. But now we start to see even more walls coming up. He's being completely walled in on this map right now. And I tell you what, it's one of those difficult little spots to get yourself out of when you've been walled in on a map like this. He's also looking to get more walls up on this little spot. So, completely walled in. How does Lash look to play on the defense? And there we spot the yeomen about to come out. There they are. 17 of the Lancaster's finest yeomen. And now we could look to make a push with this. This is one of the big things about it, right? Like, if you think, okay, how long is it going to take for me to make 17 yeomen? Well, I have 4 archery rangers, and they're all producing units at the same time, and it takes 15 seconds. So, it's a minute of production. And you're getting that immediately. That's the other thing to remember. So, if you can immediately get those yeomen out and then push at the same time, that's a huge advantage. But now those elephants starting to come forward, beginning to force back these units on the defense. If he can get the Billman to strike, he wants the Billman to strike on that those elephants, just so that he can reduce that armor, and then the yeoman can look to try and focus it down. Now he's actually focusing the crossbows in on the back. There's not a whole lot of armored units here, so I don't know how much sense that actually makes. But let's check in with these elephants and see how much armor they've actually got. You can see they've got 7 ranged armor. So the Billman will reduce that down to 5, which means you're effectively doubling the yeoman's damage from 2 damage to 4 damage, which is absolutely amazing. Just considering the fact that these war elephants, they got quite a bit of health though. So expect to see maybe crossbows starting to come out from Lash, and indeed we already start to. He's got 2 of them to his name at the moment. One is in this army. I don't know where the second one is. Is there a second one in here? I don't see the second one in here just yet. Probably going to be rallied out here shortly. Meanwhile, towards the north side of the map. Okay, we found the crossbow. That's the crossbow, right? I'm 99% sure that's the crossbow. You can see he's got the 1 red leg. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a lot of red legs. Where's that crossbow? There was a crossbow in here. Where are these crossbows going? Is it just me, or has the crossbow disappeared again? No, he's still in here. Where are you? There he is. Yeah, it's the 1 red legging. That was him. He sent the single crossbow up towards that sacred site to his death. Poor crossbow. Single crossbow. All right, synchronized shot on the way through. This is one of the new technologies available to the House of Lancaster. It's going to allow your longbows, or rather your yeomen, to fire very, very far. It's also going to just do a whole bunch of burst damage to all of the enemy backline when you do it. So ideally, you want to be hitting the crossbows. You want to be hitting the archers. That's what you want to be focusing with these units. But have a look at the number of units is going here, and it's just the trash combo. This is the best trash army that you will have in this game right now. I guarantee you. The fact that the reason why this is so good is because of Billman. That is the one upgrade that is honestly, this needs to be nerfed. right now, like, if I'm looking at the House of Lancaster and I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to balance this? There's two things that I really want to pull, two levers that I want to pull. The first one are Manors. I feel like we probably need to change the way Manors work. I love them, don't get me wrong, and I love playing with them, but you got to acknowledge they're probably a little bit strong. There they go, firing off over onto this enemy siege. A huge amount of damage, taking out the first of the Springalds and the second one. And now with that synchronized shot, all he's got to do is wait, and he'll be back up in about 40 seconds. And then he can go back in, rinse and repeat, and he can slowly work down his enemy's army by doing this over and over and over again. Really, really annoying to deal with. But yeah, I think Billman would be the first thing I would nerf. This is just, you know, it's crazy. 2 armor is ridiculous, dude. But tell you what, well, reducing 2 armor is ridiculous, I should say. Yeah, the armor itself isn't a problem. It's the reduction of armor that is problematic. Those elephants gonna have to fall back. I think he needs to move into a few more crossbows with this many elephants on the field. Could see quite a lot of Springalds coming out as well. Yeoman going to be looking for the synchronized shot. Once again, firing off into the back line, able to find another Springald. Huge damage coming out on all of these units, and once again, getting himself quite a favorable trade. And I think the key here is that he wants to avoid trading excessively like this. You just want to be trying to fight. Whenever you got that synchronized shot up, he's going to fall back towards the keep. All of the force march men at arms now going to try and make a connection here, getting themselves into the depths of it, and we'll enter into the cinematic mode as it is time for us to enjoy the cinematics of this fight. Springalds firing off elephants together up against these Billmen, but the Billmen working it down. So many units here for the Lancaster that you can see they're starting to funnel out over towards the other side of the map. We really need more crossbows in at the moment. Yeoman might have their synchronized shot up shortly, but he's going to have to fall back away from it. Not a lot of healing units in here for these elephants, so if they die, that's it, or if they lose their health, that is it. There they go. Once again, onto the Springalds. He's managed to hit another one, so taking out about 4 Springalds with the synchronized shot this game. So slowly getting some magic out from it. The White Tower also firing down upon these units, able to take them out even more. But it looks like he is going to be able to hold the English defense, or rather the English variant defense. Let's go with that, is coming online. And I tell you what, this is starting to look more and more impressive as once again Striker falls back. We are witnessing what may be a defensive masterpiece right now coming out from Lash. I tell you what, this is impressive on the defense, but I think there's so many factors here as to why this is working, but you know, you really can't go past Billman. I feel like this is just so incredible. How did they think this was okay? I don't know how they how did they think this was okay? And maybe if they brought that down to like 1 armor, then it's a bit more manageable, but at the moment it's 2 armor, and that's a lot. I mean, you got to remember, right? Like it's as long as it's a lever that they can pull, then we're okay. We don't want to redesign the Civ, but we definitely want, we 100% want to make sure that we can pull those levers. Spearman just taking out the first of the elephants. There are a couple more ways for them to escape. Now firing off, men at arms make their way forward. Do get a connection here, and is he losing out all of these yeomen here? I think that's what's going to happen. He's got, oh my lord, he's got plenty of crossbows in the rear. Needs to bring these up to help reinforce, and that'll mean Striker probably falls back from this. He's going to lose these very quickly if he doesn't. We can see just how much damage is being done. He's getting eaten alive out here, but the crossbowmen are doing so much work. Men-at-Arms going to make their way back, and you can see Striker absolutely has his target. He's taken out quite a few villagers already this game. 24, make it 25. Can I get a 25? Not going to be able to get a 25. Unfortunately, the Men-at-Arms don't have the legs for it. He's working it. He's getting another attack on. You can see they've got that special killage. But unfortunately, the Vills are too quick, and it means that the Men-at-Arms are probably going to make a connection down here. Meanwhile, towards that top side, House of Lancaster holding on. I tell you what, we are witnessing what might potentially be the greatest game on this new DLC already. This is shaping up to be an incredible game. Keep in mind, throughout this game, sacred sites have been taken, they have been recaptured, they have been neutralized, they've been taken again. They've just constantly been changing in and out of hands. We've seen it, the messages constantly flashing on our screen. Let's do a little bit of an economic stock take right now. Get a bit of an idea on where these two currently stand. So first and foremost, we've got about 2,900 on the side of Lash. Compare that to his opponent, who's looking quite a bit more healthy than him now, about 3,400, somewhere in that region. So the main thing, I think, for Lash is securing gold, and that's what he's going to do right now. We can see he's beginning to move out over towards this north side. I'd absolutely love for him to secure a keep on this gold vein and try and take this gold away. Ideally, if he can come out into the middle as well, but this is going to be a much harder thorn to crack, or a thorn to crack? A much harder... It's going to be more difficult to take that out. Let's just put it that way. Men-at-Arms going to try and come through here. They've still got the force march available, so even if they break through the wall, Repair's going to try and get here in time. I don't know whether he's brought enough villagers for it. Doesn't buy him enough. And now he's got the breakthrough on the bottom, and you can see the force march immediately running towards that, but there's too many units here, and he says, I'm just going to fall back. I'm a little bit scared. Ghazi Raiders cleaning up more villagers. Lash needs to drop a second TC. He needs to drop a second TC. He can't keep fighting this game, this economy, on a single TC. He's fallen too far behind. He's lost too many villagers. He's down to 58. It's a tough little spot for him. Spears are going to be rallied out here, trying to give a little bit of honor to what is left of this position. Sacred Site once again neutralized. Big army out here. Lash has actually got the lead when it comes to the military count now. Striker's going to be starting to question himself. And do we potentially see Imperial Ages coming through shortly? It could be the case. There's a fair bit of siege that's coming in on the side of Striker so far. Double Mango now out as well. So expect to see the Yeoman looking to focus these down. Plenty of walls. And we are witnessing, I tell you what, this is such a good game. This is such a great game. And I gotta say it right now. I can't help but feel like the reason why this game is so good is because of this map. This is such a good map. I'm not sure if this is in the ranked map pool, but I hope that it is, because this is genuinely a sick map. I'm curious what your thoughts are about this. But to me, this is so far so good. Maybe it's just, you know, we've only got one game and it just so happens that it's a really good game. And that's all we can really draw from it. And like all the rest of the games are just over in like 6 minutes because somebody drops a barbican in the back of this guy's base and he just quits. Maybe that's the other angle. So we'll have to wait and see what the play is. But for the moment, I think this map is definitely a solid one. Have a look at the amount of resources that are coming through here, by the way. It is all that wood. It is all that food coming in from the manors. Just a huge amount of extra resources coming in over the top for this civilization. It is feeling incredible because as long as you're producing units, like, you're fine, right? And he could sell all of this wood and go up to Imperial Age, but I think the main focus for him should at least be about securing gold. And you could go ahead and do, like, a Berkshire out here. In fact, you could go drop a Berkshire right here, and you could take both of these golds. That's actually a play. You could also look to try and do a Berkshire here and then neutralize this position, but it's very dangerous because your enemy's military is here. So I don't think they're really going to be able to take this out just because the White Tower is up on that hill. Makes it very difficult to attack into. Line of sight is going to be less, well, yeah, it's going to be unforgiving when you're trying to fight against the White Tower like that. Okay, over towards the west, though. A couple of Billmen going to work their way through. I tell you what, I love to call these Spearmen Billmen. I feel like that's what they should be called. It should have just been a unique unit called the Billmen instead of the Spearmen. That's what I'm all about. Look at that. That's the new Yeoman technology that's coming through right there. So this is one of those unique upgrades. This is called Backbow. And the way that it works is you carry the bow on your back, and you get a higher rate of fire by doing so. Not really. So that was the best I could do. Little bit of... he's actually doing work right here. Just mainly because he's taking the Sacred Site. He's working down this Scholar. He's going to try and capture this one as well. And we have age ups coming through at identical times, by the way. Neither of them know about it. But he's going to try and go for the Berkshire. He's putting it on the front line, laying it all on the line right now. Striker on the other side. The age up's coming through. It's going to be the Palace of the Sultan. Does he get the commit? Synchronized shot, able to take out the first of those Springalds. You can see it was the last little bit of damage that went through. Walls up towards the north, still broken through. Mangoes, 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 mangoes! Mangoes! About 4 or 5 villagers right there. A little bit of a bug out with the graphics right there. Not 100% sure what happened. He's going to try and pull back. Does a good job. Once again, whenever they unpack by the looks of it. And now that Berkshire coming up, he is going to 100% challenge this. And now with that, it's going to be a difficult spot for Striker to face into this. He's going to need to go Trebuchets if he wants to deal with this, which he definitely can do. I guess alternatively, you could just play into Elephants, but now we start to see the upgrades on the way, +3 ranged armor, elite men-at-arms coming through, and now he's going to look to try and focus down the keep. No boiling oil here, you can tell because there's none of those little covered windows, and now firing off once again. First and second Springle down, baby. Oh, synchronized shot. Who needs culverins anymore when you've got synchronized shot? This is truly... We are gaming. I'm going to say it right now. If you're only coming back for Age of Empires 4 right now and seeing where we're at, I tell you what, you have come back for a beautiful game because this is arguably one of the best games I've seen in a long time. Ville's getting pulled as well. He wants to really siege this keep down at the same time on the back. Synchronized shot on top of all the enemy villagers. It doesn't. He killed them all. Oh no, they jumped in the keep. They jumped in the keep. I tell you what, I was so damn scared for him. Vils now looking to siege this down. They've got 10 torch damage each. They're up against a fair bit of fire armor here. 6 fire armor. Mango's firing off. Decent amount of damage. Keep's going to go down here. And with that, the longbows, rather the yeomen, together with the crossbows, should be able to hold. Keep goes down. Treb's firing off. Still working it down on the backside. Vils moving forward. He's got the villagers. He's going mad with the villagers. Is he going all in right now? Lash is going all in. He's looking to try and finish this game off. He knows he's got the military advantage, or at least he thinks he's got the military advantage. But those villagers, look at these villagers, the heroes of the day, just taking out all of the siege. Behind the scenes, Billman able to defend up against the Ghazi Raiders, doing a wonderful job here. They look like they might be a little bit outnumbered though, and because of that, these Vils are going to need to start getting their running shoes on. Meanwhile, oh my lord. Whew, can I breathe? Can I breathe? I think I can breathe. That was something. That was something right there. I don't know what happened, but I fear that Striker might be in a little bit of a better spot here compared to Lash. I think Lash has just lost a little bit too many Vils. He's lost 61 this game. Could you imagine if he had 61 Vils now? He'd be 110 Vils. And that's a lot of villagers. So it really says a lot about the state of his economy. Now, keep in mind, he's obviously still got the manors that are popping. He could look to go into the exact militia program. I don't know if it's the exact or if he... Yeah, how would you say that? He could look to research the exact militia program. I guess that's probably the best way to say it. Ghazi Raiders coming through. Elite upgrade on the way for them. Another 20 seconds or so to go. But he's managed to secure the gold in the middle of the map. And I tell you what, the Berkshire has done a wonderful job at defending. I think for me, the biggest thing was he needed to add a second TC. I think he needed to add a second TC like somewhere in like the 18 to 20 minute mark. Somewhere around that region. You know, right after that big fight that he took in Castle Age where he was able to get this nice little defense in. I think that was where you drop the second TC. But unfortunately, yeah, he's lost a lot of tempo now because of that. The question is going to be about whether he can hold up. Elite upgrades now coming through for the yeomen. They've got that little gold. What is it? Well, I don't even know what that is. It's going to be some type of armor, I guess, on the back of them. You can see them right here as they fire off. Let's right on board with Striker. On the defense, you can see he's got pretty much the whole map covered at the moment. Sacred Sight's timer is still not... By the way, it's still not ticking. Can I just say Lash is doing an incredible job with keeping those Sacred Sights down. And now Striker, he's got a whole bunch of Ghazi Raiders, and Lash sees it and says, oh my lord, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Spearman. Spearman, please. Spearman. boys. Let's go. Where are you? Elite upgrade on those Ghazi Raiders. He's going to need to turn around very quickly. There those spears are finally coming in time. And we've got the Berkshire back here. We're going to get ourselves a little bit of UI off this screen because it's time for ourselves to have another battle. More elephants coming out, bringing their hand cannons this time. And now the men-at-arms going to fall back. Everybody's falling back. No, it's a false alarm. False alarm. Bring that UI back in. And he's going to try and break a little bit of a hole through here on the palisades. At the moment, 46 Vils. So he's continued to lose out more and more Vils. He's lost 70 so far in this game. I tell you what, you know, it's never too late to get the second TC down. I mean, how do you go about doing it? He was obviously working on the stone over on this west side. Oh no, Ghazi Raiders are through. He's got no stone wall down here either. I think you definitely want to be stone walling this, by the way. There is no two ways about it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Hill and Dale in that regard. That you want to 100% be stone walling this. Ghazi Raiders coming through, and this is a bit of an awkward spot, right? Because you're playing this combo where you don't want to be moving too much out of... Like, you want to just be fighting them down mid, right? Like, that's what you want to be doing. Force the fight down mid. Hopefully, he drops a market. Okay, he's got the market. Hopefully, he buys a little bit of stone here. The value that you're going to get out of a stone wall across here is incredible. You need to be getting this stone wall up ASAP. You need to be bringing every single villager. Oh, my God, he's got no Vils. He's got no Vils, dude. It is such a sad state of affairs, and now beginning to move forward once again, getting caught a little bit off guard. We hear Sacred Sights taken behind the scenes. He's going to try and focus down these units, and look at all the Ghazi Raiders coming in from the south. Where are all of the spearmen? They're nowhere to be seen. They eat all the units alive, and now there's that neutralizer Sacred Sight that just somehow manages not to be UI for the purpose of the caster mode. And unfortunately, it looks like our House of Lancaster player is getting eaten alive in this battle. This could be the final battle right here. There's really not much more going for him. He's lost a lot of economy. He's lost almost all of his military at this point, and the numbers are looking forever in favor of Striker. I think that's it. Indeed it is, ladies and gentlemen. An incredible game coming out from these two Age of Empires 2 players. Oh, Age of Empires 2. Age of Empires 4 players. Excuse me, where did that come from? Anyway, we'll leave it there. Make sure you go check them out. I was going to say from these two players. There we go. Make sure you go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can catch both of them. One streams live over on Twitch. The other guy, he doesn't stream. We'll leave it there.